And you're inside the ride. This is your host, Alphonse DELAMOTA, each and every Monday, right here with you, sharing what's going on in my neck of the woods, in the underground, in dance music, drum and bass, jungle, in the political spectrum that is Chicago City, the intricacies that what make us unique and what make us just like everyone else. I cover here and I cover that for you. So, as some of you know, each and every Monday, aside from this right here YouTube channel, I also do a mix that is on iTunes. Just search me out on iTunes, download the mix, you get a fresh one each and every Monday. And this week's song that I feature in my mix is a song by FD and MC Fox called Don't Mean Much When. And this tune, the reason I picked this tune was specifically because it really speaks to what's going on today. Because much like a relationship, America is going through a rough patch with itself. Um, Speaking from the perspective of a brown person, I can tell you right now that I'm not the only one that feels uncomfortable in America right now. And this is for a very legitimate reason with all the political issues that we're having, the person who's in charge and the rhetoric that he decided to use, which hold true to his heart and his true color, which is orange. And he just inspired his people to act a fool. So when you get a chance, check that song out. It'll definitely speak to today's era. Some of what I'll be doing is I'll be going back to some of the old school rave spots that we partied at as youths here in Chicago. Some of the older spots in Chicago, all around the city, is where I'm going to be starting. I'll be visiting some places that held one event, and I'll be going to some places that we went to frequently. A lot of those places are out in the burbs, like Route 66. Well, that's not in the burbs, that's in the city. It's in the south side, but Catalini's and Dalton and Harvey Expo Center and all that stuff. Those places were out in the burbs. I'll be hitting those up, but a little later in the future on those. But I will be definitely visiting places like 500 Cermak and other locations that really helped Chicago pioneer its way through the underground, which allowed its artists to sharpen their knives. We had awesome parties just about each and every weekend. Every so often, one of those parties would get raided, and yeah, that would suck. But for every, I don't know, 25 parties that were dope, there was one or two parties that got raided. So we took those numbers. We didn't mind them too much. So when these parties got raided, usually it killed the spot, and that was usually the last time that it happened there. Very rarely would we go back to a space after it's been raided once. Usually the owners are already super sketched out and don't want anything to do with any ravers inside their place. So usually those doors are closed for good. And I'll also be going to some of those places because some of those places are like reputable businesses now, and you'll be surprised to see what we were doing there in the 90s versus what's going on there today. Just saw a post by one of the guys posting about a place, Alcatraz, which was an old school, not really a rave spot, but like pre-rave. Like it was alternative music, which in Chicago meant like Anything from Front 242, Nitzer Rap to Depeche Mode and The Cure, all played like dancey, dance synth pop music. But there was also house music nights that went down at Alcatraz, and it's now a coffee shop. And I recall when I was in a party crew when I was younger, me and my friends going there and looking for fights, successfully getting into them, but sometimes not finding them and just having a good time and dancing. It's probably one of the first places that I ate my first piece of acid at a party and experienced that for the first time, which made me all more eager to experience it at a rave party the first night that I went to a rave party. And that story pretty much goes, we were just in the neighborhood over on 35th and Archer, in front of one of the guys' blocks. We're just hanging out there in the hood, and one of the homies drove up, said, "Yo, who wants to go to a rave?" I got some fake tickets. Long story short, we got into this party with some fake tickets. I ate a piece of acid that night with the people I was with, and I pretty much danced all night, and that just solidified my love for the underground and really taught me what the difference was between everything before that and what was a rave party, and what led to what we have today, which is EDM. All the rave parties that I went to were never in legal venues. They were never in places that were meant for events, with the exception of maybe two places. One was a roller rink, which was Route 66, which was on 66 and Martin Luther King Drive. With the invention of Google Earth, you can go there and look for it. 66 and Martin Luther King Drive in Chicago. And that place was a roller rink called Route 66. And we must have been there every other weekend for years. That was the first place in Chicago that Daft Punk actually played for Dust Tracks Records way back in the, I don't even know, I want to say late 90s, 98-ish, 97-ish, something like that. And my wife and I, we were dating at the time. We remember them walking in with their helmets, and I mean, you'd be surprised some of the legendary places that I'm going to visit and the people that played there, but definitely that one is one I'm going to hit specifically for that reason, because I know people are going to want to see the first place in Chicago that Daft Punk played. The first place in the country they played was up in Wisconsin at Even Further. I was there also, heavily dosed on microdots and a tab of acid. Those parties were awesome. The video that's playing right now that you're looking at is one of our events, Deep in the Jungle. This is one of my favorite events. These were always a good time. It's very rare that you got this type of vibe, this type of turnout and support in Chicago for an event that featured 101% drum and bass music. And when we inherited the drum and bass scene in Chicago, we inherited it from a crew that left it to die. In 2006, when MIA started, drum and bass was all but dead. A couple of crews were hanging on, but the last hangers on were Bass by the Pound, and they couldn't really represent everything that drum and bass was, because they only represented 25% of what it was, which was their favorite stuff, which was smoother, laid back, more chill styles of drum and bass, and later on dubstep, but that's a whole nother issue. But when we inherited in 2006, it was all but dead, and this event was one of our pinnacle events that kind of solidified us as being, heavy hitters in the scene and really doing all we could do to bring it back. So we really worked hard throughout those years. I mean, just getting a crew together that would be able to not only face the mental anguish of putting on a music that virtually nobody really wanted to hear when you go into the general public. It was a very niche style of music within our own rave community, and we carved it out. We carved out our own niche, and we definitely gained our own respect, regardless of whoever brought drum and bass and jungle music to Chicago in the past. As far as I'm concerned, when MIA started, that was starting from zero. Because, like I said, it was all but dead. Ravers were gone. As far as club people, all they wanted to hear was whatever Bass by the Pound was playing, nothing else. So they definitely had their group. So we definitely picked all the they say three out of four people want to hear house music. We were definitely here getting that one person from every group to come to our party, almost to the point where Deep in the Jungle 1, which also has a picture of, there's a line of down the block, that happened at an illegal bar, which was, I believe, on, I want to say, Cicero and North Avenue. And we had a line down the block and around the corner going down Cicero. And that was for an all drum and bass rave party. So yeah, we're gonna have some good stuff coming up. I'm gonna have some cool pictures and video at the current space. I'm gonna try to dig up video of these events from back in the day when the rave party was going on there, but that's gonna be hard. But for sure, I'll definitely get some video of what it currently looks like. I'm gonna try to get an interview or at least a few words from the promoter. I was at most of these events, so I'll definitely have some stuff to say. I'll be picking the brains of some of my friends that I went with to these events just to make sure that I'm correct. But at the end of the day, you see the flyer, we know the spot, we can fill it all in from there because most of these events were epic. And again, you're inside the ride. My name is Alphonse DELAMOTA. You can just call me DELAMOTA. And again, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. You want a free drum and bass mix on your iTunes each and every Monday. Make sure to go to iTunes and like that Inside the Ride page there, and you'll get a free, fresh, sick drum and bass mix for you to bump every Monday and just kind of, start your day off to, no matter what you're doing. Myself, I'm about to hit this bong and enjoy the rest of my night. I hope y'all have a good week, and I will see you Monday with another episode right here on YouTube of Inside the Ride. Peace.